Dave Johnson was a real good friend and mentor. He was part of the Black Hearts, and he had done time. So he started training at the school I was training at because the original school we were training at, Duke the Dumpster Drozie's Wrestling School, had shut its doors. So Rusty Brooks had a wrestling academy. We started training there. And one day afterwards, we went to go to Denny's to grab a bite to eat. And Dave Johnson made a joke that you would only laugh at if you had done time.
Oh.
And we didn't know each other yet. We just kind of, and he made a joke and I started laughing. He goes, I knew it. Where'd you do time? You know? And at that point, he kind of took me under his wing because he said wrestling saved his life when he got out of prison. And I can say it did the same for me, you know? And Dave was one of those guys that would mock the kids in the back. Oh, you guys still practicing your match, huh? You know, guys spending 3 hours to talk over a 10-minute match. You know, but Dave was a guy that when I started working with him, I mean, I was fortunate in South Florida. There were so many guys that we would joke around. It's not even a joke. We would say that we were the bastard children of the Malenkos because a lot of the guys in South Florida were trained by the Malenkos, and they trained people who ended up training people. So we were all in the Malenko lineage of training. And Dave was trained by the Malenkos, so he was very serious and, you know, had a very hardcore attitude about how things went. And he would call our matches all the time. And I would just listen, do what he said to do, and we'd have great matches. And I remember as I started learning and getting into my own groove, you know, when I had to work with some of the older veterans, you know, I'd be salty, like, oh man, this guy's lazy. He don't want to do nothing. He don't want to do no cool spots, you know.
Right.
And it, you know, it took some time and veteranship of my own to learn and understand, like, to you, this is a huge show. Man. All 150 people out there. This is a big deal. To me, man, it's Saturday afternoon, man. I'm trying to get home. You know, it's a different approach to it. So back then, I remember going to IPW in Tampa, and you know, me and guys like Lex Lovett comes to mind, Steve Madison. You know, we were really influenced by, at the time, there used to be these things called VHS tapes.
What? Blockbuster?
Right. Before DVDs, before YouTube, when you could just punch up whatever match you wanted to see, we used to get VHS tapes, and we were fascinated with the wrestling that was coming out of Japan. And, you know, the King's Road, and Misawa and Kawada, and, you know, watching one of my guys, Chono, and so we were really trying to emulate some of this Japanese wrestling that we saw. But at that time, we would really spend a lot of time putting together this match, and it would be every spot was laid out. The problem with that is, and Soulman, Alex G, Dave Johnson, all those old school guys, they would say, y'all got to learn to work. You can't have all this stuff memorized and literally choreographed, because once you get to a certain level, when you're on live television with no safety net, things change. And it's happened to me countless times, and it's happened to any professional that's been on live television. There have been a number of times where they've said, hey, MVP, you got 12 minutes. Okay, cool. I go out there with whoever I'm working with, and you lock up, you start working, and the referee has the IFB earpiece, and they say, you guys lost 4 minutes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
So we're 3 minutes into what we thought was 12 minutes. We lost 4. Oh, man. Okay, we got to start working on going home, going to the finish. And if you got a 12-minute match memorized and you don't know how to work, how to call something on the fly, then you're in big trouble. If you can't say, okay, well, let's go to this, you know, or sometimes it's the other way. You pick up time. You have, you go out there thinking you got 7 minutes, and they go, hey, man, you guys picked up 5 minutes.
Wow.
Well, if you've only got 7 minutes memorized, you better come up with 5 more minutes, you know.
What about the crowd interaction? If they're cheering or booing, don't things need to change to kind of play into what the story is?
Well, that's the beauty of knowing how to work. Still today, I see a lot of young guys will have a 20-minute match laid out step for step. But I've always, and I was brought up this way, where the crowd doesn't dictate your match. You dictate to the crowd.
Okay, all right.
But sometimes you're out there and you're doing a technical style match, and the people are sitting there on their hands. They don't care about a technical match. And then somebody chops somebody, and the crowd comes and like, well, okay, we know what we're doing now.
Red chest. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, So on experience level, I remember famously, Undertaker told Mr. Kennedy one time. Kennedy was so nervous about working with Taker, and he went to Taker and said, Taker, when you're ready to talk about what you'd like to do tonight, and Taker said, just listen to what I say, kid, and when I drop you on your head, it's all over. And just walked away. He says, listen, do what I tell you to do, we'll be fine.